It's your boy Miguel Z with the Value of Wrestling New Japan Rebound Podcast. I've got a guest for you folks at StocktonCon.
What up, everybody? AJ Kirsch here, the voice and the host of StocktonCon. The value of wrestling is awesome, so subscribe on YouTube. Scan the QR code right here, now. Subscribe, check it out.
There we go.
You'll be glad you did.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, that's what. Hey, man, shout out the Value of Wrestling. I'm right here with the Big O's, San Jose. We're gonna shut this shit down. Love and respect, all right? Value of Wrestling. Hello.
Man, thank you, brother.
This is the Value of Wrestling, the revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
Oh, you didn't know? Well, I don't know what to tell you. We are back. We are live, in large, and in charge. We are right here on the Value Wrestling, right here on YouTube. This is your weekly roundup, episode number 42 episodes, gentlemen. Almost 1 year's worth of weekly roundups. We only got about 10 more to go, and we'll be wrapping 1 year of solidly doing this. So we're definitely going to get into this. It's going to be an interesting conversation. A lot to talk about what's going on with WWE and TNA and where's AEW heading. We're going to discuss a lot of that. We're going to dabble our toes in little of the stuff that's going on in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And we're going to talk about a whole lot of other things that all include the world of wrestling. So I say, pitter patter, let's get to it. And if you know what show that comes from, more power to you. Anyways, you know my co-host, the one, the only, Mr. Paulus Clarke. And of course, our New Japan Pro Wrestling Encyclopedia Britannica, the man behind it all when it comes to New Japan Pro Wrestling knowledge, the one, the only, Miguel Z. Oh, you didn't know, and you know me, I'm the Big Tyme. We're here each and every week doing this like we do it, la-de-da-de, like a party. Anywho, check the description below. Lots of information down there. We'll do some housekeeping somewhere in the middle of this show. We'll give you some more details on a lot of things that are down there, but there's a lot in the description. Check out the description box below. And we do a lot of things. We're busy all week keeping things going. I will announce now, tomorrow I may not be here, so there may not be a direct live Raw show. It may be a short preview like we did SmackDown this week. So we will let you know what happens there, so be looking for that. But for now, wrestling this week. Gentlemen, your thoughts on the overall landscape of professional wrestling for the end of May, the beginning of June. How do you feel we came out of May? How do you feel like we're going into June? Mr. Miguel's face says it already too quickly. Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Z. It seems like you really want to,
elaborate.
Say your piece.
Can we just sit here and say we believe in Joe Hendry and just leave it at that? Because that's the only thing that would be very entertaining at this point. I mean, other than the obvious that we'll get into with WWE, that's the only thing that seemed to catch my interest as of late. I as far as the money mark, I don't know. I don't know anymore. I've literally lost all faith.
But he's a good guy.
At that aspect of booking.
But he just told you he was a good guy on Twitter.
So am I, but... Yeah, but so am I. But what's the point?
And we got our first guy here. Matthew Underwood telling us EC3 defeated in All Japan last week. That's good to hear. EC3 getting around, still being relevant in some circles of wrestling. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts on this week in wrestling?
To kind of piggyback off of Mr. Z, see, the less I watch of AEW, the more I get in tune with TNA. There's just a lot more. It's like, if you want to watch wrestling for wrestling's sake, AEW's okay, but TNA has always been a great breeding ground for just pure professional wrestling. Yes. And sometimes it's even better for repackaging, if you will, like Mustafa Ali. That dude is doing some great work as the X Division champion.
Yes.
Great character work.
Love the suit. The suit's amazing.
Righty.
Like I said, we'll get into WWE at some point during this show. Right now, they're hitting a lot of good cylinders, like usual.
Yes, they definitely seem to be on point. They're definitely heading in. they're heading into a great direction going into Clash of the Castle in the middle of this month. We have the Clash of the Castle in Scotland. We already know Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest are going to tie it up for the belt. I think we kind of know what the direction of that match is. There's only really one way I can see that match going that makes sense, because at this point, I would say Drew would beat Damian Priest if you just went straight up. If they were going to go straight up, no shenanigans, I don't see Damian Priest paper-wise. And this doesn't mean what they can do in the ring. They're both talented in the ring, but if you look at them on the paper, if you look at who is hotter, who the fans are putting more heat or love towards, I think Drew McIntyre is more over and more deserving of the title than Damian Priest. Not that Damian Priest doesn't deserve the world title, but if you were going to go into Scotland with Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest, heads up, no outside anything, then I would say Drew McIntyre wins, flat out. Which kind of hurts what Damian Priest, it kind of diminishes Damian Priest's title. But I think the only way you get out of this match is CM Punk showing up in Scotland and costing Drew this chance to continue their story and hopefully build to a huge blow-off at SummerSlam. That's the only way I see that match going. I mean, I don't see how you let Drew beat Damian at this point.
I mean, this is the same guy, Drew McIntyre, who I called my champion, when he became WWE champion the first time.
Yes.
I want him to actually get that title, especially in Scotland. I mean, in the home country, come on.
Yeah, but I think you're going to create so much heat and so much story if you have CM Punk interfere. I just think you have that. You're going to
yeah, for sure. I'm not going to hate on that if that happens.
Yes.
That happens, the fans will riot.
But
I think so much heat.
That's what
much heat.
That's what you want, and I think that's the perfect story. And it continues to build for Drew versus CM Punk at SummerSlam, because here's the thing: if CM Punk's cleared by then, because the next thing is, how do you do Drew versus Gunther at SummerSlam? Then you're in another whole bumping heads, because you really
that's a
want
whole different conundrum.
Do you want Gunther to really lose? And Drew to go over, but if Gunther beats Drew, is Drew not getting robbed of a decent title reign? It's yes, I'd love to see Drew get that title, but I'd also like to see Drew be able to go on a good title run. And the other thing is, we know SummerSlam's at the beginning of August, and at the end of August is Bash in Berlin. So I mean, it's are we going to put a title on Gunther by that time? Now, or are we going to put Gunther in? Is he going to walk in the Bash in Berlin as a champion, and then maybe shortly after that lose the title? I don't necessarily hate Gunther maybe running with the world title for a short period. If he wins it, it's just, they've really booked this into an interesting situation. I think Gunther versus Damian Priest gives Damian Priest a little bit more time to run with the title, get his feet a little more wet, and then when Gunther beats him at SummerSlam, you let Gunther go into the Bash in Berlin. He gets to come out as world champion. Maybe Damian Priest gets a rematch. Who knows? Maybe after that, you can, maybe take the title off of Gunther somewhere with a Drew, a Finn, or a Damian, and it would be okay. The only thing is, I love Gunther. He deserves the world title. I just don't want to see a long world title run with Gunther right now, because it's we already seen him run with that Intercontinental title forever. So it's going to be interesting.
Done with the big long reign for Roman.
Yes.
Of the title. So it's just, yeah.
And besides, I kind of want to see Gunther kind of milk the king idea for a little bit.
Well, yeah.
But it's very interesting how they're going to manage. I think you're going to be better with Damian versus Gunther at SummerSlam, and you can at least still have Damian with Judgment Day, and maybe that's where the final catalyst or Judgment Day falls apart. Maybe Judgment Day costs Gunther winning that title there. But again, then you go into Germany with Gunther in a main event. What do you do with him there that keeps him hot? Does he get another world title shot? If you put Gunther in the world title shot in the Bash of Berlin, you have to give the title to Gunther there. I mean, that's the one time you're going to have the highest, hottest pop. Otherwise, you have to have Gunther lose to Damian Priest and then set up Damian versus maybe Balor as Judgment Day falls apart. But what do you do with Gunther at Bash of Berlin? So it's unless you do, CM Punk interferes against Drew. Drew doesn't win the match at Clash of the Castle. Creates a lot of heat and speculation. Damian Priest versus Gunther at SummerSlam. Maybe they have Judgment Day interfere to keep the title on Damian Priest. Then you have, before Gunther can get to Bash in Berlin, you have the return of Brock Lesnar. And then you have Brock versus Gunther at Bash in Berlin.
That goes into the other part of the news out there. That's if Brock Lesnar, if the WWE legal team can clear his name.
Yeah, well, I know that's what's up and down. I've heard a lot of things. He's supposed to be coming back into 2K24. He's supposed to be back. He's not back. There is so much news about Brock Lesnar. We don't know which direction it's going to go. But I mean, I don't know. What do you do with Gunther if you don't put the world title on him going into Bash of Berlin? And if you put him in the world title match, do you not give him the title in Berlin? If you haven't already at SummerSlam? I mean, it's really interesting to the corner they booked him in. They gave Gunther the King of the Ring, made the announcement, whoever wins King and Queen of the Ring is they get a title shot at SummerSlam. Nia Jax, I'm not too worried about. She's not necessarily going to beat Bayley. And if she beats Bayley, I don't think it's necessarily either a bad idea. That's easier to see how that can go and be okay with. But when you're looking, okay, Gunther's just become King of the Ring. He just lost the Intercontinental title. We kind of like where Damien is. Drew's in the middle of this, but we want to see Drew with the title. But I think CM Punk can convert that, because what happens if Drew wins the title and then you're booking Drew versus CM Punk, then you're going to want a lot of people to beat Drew McIntyre for CM Punk to win that title. And I think CM Punk winning that title needs to happen at WrestleMania if it's going to happen. And Matthew Underwood said Razor from AOP wants a UFC fight. If they gave him a jobber like they did the Fragile Phil, he wins. With the final treatment and attendance, they will get major heat. I don't know if you're going to have the crossover. That's the other thing. Just because they merged together, until WWE and UFC builds some type of crossover, I don't think you're going to have the crossover that you want. Razor could want that, but Razor's nobody right now. And I don't know what Razor can do. Yeah. And I don't get, here's the other thing. You can call him Fragile Phil, but at least he got in the ring and did it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
you can't take that away from him. He might be 0-2, but the man stepped in the cage.
You want to come in and start calling him Fragile Phil. I mean, you're going to get a little heat back here because, I mean, I don't. He's been getting hurt, but also he's aged. I mean, at our age, I think all of us would probably hurt a little easier in the ring. So I don't think
it's like he wasn't training his whole life. He didn't start like when he was 20 and was a spring chicken still.
So I mean,
I was going to say, man, he ain't no spring chicken, and neither are we. So it happens.
No, I mean, what the precautions are. Does it suck that he constantly getting hurt? Yes, it really does suck that he's just on a string of bad luck. But that does happen when you tend to take 10 years kind of out, or 7 years out of wrestling. When you go away from the sport and you're not doing anything, you're kind of sitting around and you're not doing it day in, day out, and your body is getting older and it takes these bumps, it just doesn't react like it used to. So Razor could get in there and fight somebody. Maybe he'd be great. Maybe he would. I don't know what kind of training he necessarily has, but I don't know if we're ever going to see a true WWE UFC crossover where WWE stars go fight in a UFC ring. Because it's just a different world.
I won't be surprised at some point.
Possibly, yes.
But
we're more likely to see the UFC guys come into a WWE ring first before we're going to see WWE stars in a UFC match.
I was going to say, speaking of UFC guys, Mr. Clark, have we seen any more reports of Cain Velasquez as of late? I understand he went back to AAA.
Yeah, I heard
but
about
I haven't
that.
seen
couple years back, but I haven't heard anything since.
I think WWE distanced themselves from all that mess, so we're gonna have to ride that train out until things cleared. But I mean, of course, there is a free agent on the market that WWE could sign that might want to get in a UFC ring. I mean, Jake Hager's available.
I just seen that too.
So I mean,
can you repackage him and bring him back?
Could you bring back Jack Swagger? Yeah, you could bring back Jack Swagger. Jack Swagger's been gone long enough that I think he'd get a decent pop. I think Dutch Mantel was on the right line, that he, put him with the right manager and the right story. He could get back over. If you made him feel serious enough again, and away from wearing purple hats, I think he'd be fine. I mean...
who would be fun? The guy who used to manage RVD. Bill Alfonso.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Someone who has that coach feel.
Razor is 6-2 in his
MMA. Out there with his whistle?
Razor is 6-2 in his MMA career, so Razor definitely stands a chance to get in the UFC ring. He has some experience in that fighting, so I mean, there's he could do it. So I mean,
why every time I hear Razor, I think of Ninja Turtles? It's just horrible.
I know. Anywho, But I mean, you could bring back Jack Swagger if you gave him a serious role. But I mean, here's the thing: was the stuttering gimmick worse or the purple hat gimmick worse? Who did more damage to Jake Hager, AEW or WWE?
AEW for sure.
AEW, yeah.
So,
Yeah. He got mad over his hat, a flipping bucket hat.
When we played second fiddle to Jericho, he was Jericho's little bodyguard, and that's, his big supporting role. Anyways, I think WWE could bring him back. He could get a huge pop. He would get love, and then you could do whatever you want with him. Would he be a main eventer? I think you could put him in roles, but he's not going to win a title. I mean, you could put him in that role against certain people. You could have him come in and start talking Cody. I mean, he could definitely come in at the top and attack somebody and start a storyline, but he's not going to win titles. It's not going to be a huge feud. But, I mean, I think he has some things to offer. Hell, I would send him almost down to NXT for his comeback. I think he'd probably get more over there and have a little more fun.
Oh, definitely. NXT, I mean...
Well, NXT,
I would feel sometimes NXT's a step up.
NXT's starting to become a step up.
Development.
I mean, look what happened this week in NXT. Yeah. We had two of the biggest names in wrestling. Well, I guess they're not the biggest names, but two big names in wrestling. Oh, sorry, Jordynne Grace is a big name in wrestling, whether you know everything about her or not. She is a star. She is the TNA Women's Knockout Champion, and she is challenging Roxanne Perez, the NXT Women's Champion, at Battleground. Coming up, and so I mean, that's the big news. We had Jordynne Grace on WWE TV, the TNA champion again, not just a Rumble, but actual weekly TV on NXT, challenging the other champion, talking about how she'll take the title back to TNA and wrestle.
I mean, that pop
and
alone,
there.
Man, like
she got a huge pop. But let alone
that pop
talk
alone
about
she got.
Talk about the pop that Ethan Page, all ego shows up, attacked Trick Williams, and is over like hot in NXT. And NXT fans are actually better than AEW fans because they even knew who Ethan Page was. So, at least
look at WWE. WWE is so kind. They support AEW. All ego wrestling. Ethan Page.
Even in that time when Ethan Page came out, the announcer almost said AEW. Wasn't he wrestling AEW? And Booker T's like, They're willing to talk. They're starting to talk about AEW. Maybe not very directly, not very much, but they're giving them some flowers. Maybe not all their flowers, but WWE's at least acknowledging they exist. Where it used to be, you would never see that. WWE would never acknowledge anybody else that existed. Now they're making sure that TNA exists in a big way, and we know NXT stars and possible main roster stars are going to be showing up on TNA. So WWE and TNA have a huge partnership. We've heard about it. We've heard the rumors all year because this went back all the way to the Royal Rumble that there was chitter chatter.
I know we spoke about it off air, and it just made me think about it right now. Can we get Kofi Kingston and Chris Bay? I'd actually like to see that match.
The first time I ever saw Chris Bay, my first thought was he looks like evil Kofi Kingston.
Anything is possible in this new age. That's for sure. That is for sure.
My thing was this is like who put Moose in there with, man. I just want to see Moose with somebody.
Somebody recently said they wanted to face Moose from WWE. I'm forgetting though. Dang.
Seth Rollins?
I wouldn't mind seeing.
Was it?
No, I don't know who was. I'm just saying a name you could put in there with Moose. Seth Rollins.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Gunther?
I could have said Gunther with just about anyone.
Gunther and Moose would be an amazing match. Maybe the Bloodline goes to TNA. Maybe you get Roman Reigns versus Moose. What did they call Nick Nemeth? What do you mean? What did they call Nick Nemeth?
Oh, the most wanted.
Yeah, he's most wanted.
Most wanted man.
Most wanted man everywhere.
Hager needs to do a blood sport.
Could we get?
You're right. I believe that. And real quick, he said Hager needs to do blood sport. I'm all for Hager in blood sport. I mean, Shayna's done it. Nick Nemeth is doing it. Obviously, old school Johnny Wrestling, he's doing it, or Johnny Bloodsport is what they call him. I'm all for Hager. But you got to have him against the War Master in order to make that work.
Which you say Johnny Wrestling? Who are you talking about?
Johnny Nitro.
Okay,
Hagen, what do you want to call him?
There's only one Johnny Wrestling, and it's Mr. DIY Johnny Gargano, Mr. Wrestling, Johnny Wrestling.
I know, but I'm going to
make sure
the monikers he used. It's all good.
Yeah. And what do they call
What do
him?
they call him?
Oh, that's what I was going to get to until Mr. Gee stopped me. I go, could we get Dolph Ziggler back on NXT TV? But what would his name be? Would he be Nick Nemeth at this point? Would he be Dolph Ziggler? If he's under TNA contract, I would assume his name would be Nick Nemeth. But I'm sure WWE refer him to Dolph Ziggler.
Mm-hmm. Oh, of course.
So that would be a very interesting.
It really doesn't matter what you call him, as long as you don't call him late for a match.
I guess.
Thank you, Bobby Heenan.
But
I like to think I have a little bit of a brain.
WWE's on the right. I think WWE's doing the right thing. They got a lot going on for them and moving forward.
Oh yeah.
TNA, this partnership, stars that could go back and forth. There's a lot of things we could see there that could be very, very interesting and very, very amazing.
What a time to be a wrestling fan, folks. Doesn't matter what your promotion is.
Who would have thought like a year ago or a year or two ago when Tony Khan was telling TNA that he's heading this ship, he's going to right this ship, he's going to get TNA on board and work with them, and they were going to be us versus them being WWE, and now TNA is on board with them against the us, and Tony Khan's kind of lightly on that ship. And I guess he picked up the new Stardom or the old Stardom or whatever's left of Stardom after that had its crumbling. And he still had
Marigold, the new Stardom.
And he has a partnership with CMLL, and then he has, I don't know what he has. And we know Tanahashi-san was there doing the Monet nets. I guess as we see, there's a new pandemic going around the world. Mr. Ospreay is teaching everybody how to do the Monet dance, but I mean, there seems to be a fractured relationship between New Japan Pro Wrestling, at least with some of the talent that is in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Not really happy with AEW, but Mr. President's son is, sitting right there, buddy, loving up on Tony Khan at a press conference, doing the Monet dance.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I'm Tanahashi's son. I'm sorry, dog, but. Meant why?
Although I will say, what's his name? Shota
Umino
doing it too.
Yeah, he's done it the funniest.
Well, yeah, it's Shooter. I'll give Shooter that one. He get away with it. I'll let him get away with it because I mean, you partnered up with Mox for so long, you got that brain damage. I mean, it happens.
So, as the man who represents each and every week with that big sign behind your head there. How do you feel about the general direction of Will Ospreay?
Not happy. If they made him serious, I'd be happy. But no, he's too busy doing the Monet dance. I've lost all.
So how do you feel about?
I've lost it.
Swerve versus Will Ospreay for the AEW Championship at Forbidden Door.
That's too soon.
It is too soon. Totally,
it's way too soon. You're gonna have to let Ospreay win it.
Well, Ospreay has to win.
No
do you really
let Ospreay win it?
Do you really let Swerve be the first guy to pin Ospreay or take out Ospreay? I mean, I guess you could do a DQ, but I don't know. I don't know how you do a DQ at this point with Swerve and Ospreay. Well, how do you keep Swerve with the title but not have Ospreay lose? Because whoever Ospreay hasn't lost a singles match yet.
Is there anything left with the Mogul Embassy?
There is no Mogul Embassy.
It's
Cage of Agony would be the group now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there you go. There's your interference.
But they're not going to help Swerve. Why would they help Swerve? And why would they help Ospreay?
They go into attack Swerve.
For what purpose?
Attack both of them. Get a no contest.
For what purpose? Brian Cage
already lost. A better way to end it.
Cage already lost to Swerve. Cage already got fed to Swerve. So, I mean, what purpose would it serve to put the Cage of Agony out there to cost Swerve a win? I mean, I guess Hangman interferes. But if Hangman's going to interfere, he's going to make sure Swerve loses the title and it goes to Ospreay. So that doesn't keep, I'm asking, how do you keep, how is he going to win it all in if he wins at Forbidden Door? How do you get there? That would be the question. If Ospreay's going to win it all in, how do you get him there?
You see what this did, Tony? You got us trying to figure this out for you because you dug yourself into a hole. And now we can't even figure that out.
Unless you're going to pull the boring story here and have Don Callis be the reason Ospreay loses.
Oh no!
And then
here's the other thing, though. Would it hurt Ospreay that much if he were to lose to Swerve, who is the current champion? Who is why? In your opinion, why?
Because he's undefeated, and losing to Swerve, I don't think it would elevate Swerve in any way.
The champion, reminder.
I know, but I don't think it would raise him. I don't think it would raise Swerve. It'd do anything valuable for Swerve. And should Swerve be the guy that gets the first pin on Ospreay? You have Will Ospreay, one of the greatest professional wrestlers, interferes at Forbidden Door. Swerve returns to a natural heel status. No, they're not going to return Swerve to a heel status. He's the only other babyface they have right now on this company. They've screwed him up really bad. It's going to be... when he loses the title, he might be able to go heel. But right now, they've screwed him up too much. I mean, whoever beats Ospreay needs to be that's it. Whoever pins Ospreay for the first time should be somebody that you're going to help make next.
Well, I think the one thing we all agree on is it's too fucking soon. The
Yes.
match shouldn't have been made yet to begin
No.
with.
Yeah.
No, this is
Definitely.
what we were predicting for All In. Why we're jumping it here?
Mhm.
It
Right.
doesn't fit, and it's again, and then you have Ospreay as the international champion, who just won that international champion, who hasn't actually. And here's the shocking thing: he's had matches, but he hasn't even defended that championship. Now Swerve's over here defending his AEW World Champion all over the place. That doesn't make sense. So it's like you have the international champion
Strike
lose.
an iron's hot, brother.
No,
Hashtag powder sniff booking.
it's bad booking.
Yeah.
It's confusing bad bookings. I don't see how you get out of it. Now, granted, Don Callis could cause Ospreay to lose the match. Ospreay leaves the Don Callis family. And hopefully that doesn't mean he goes and fights everybody in the Don Callis family again, because we've seen it all. They've all been fed to him. I don't want to repeat. And then here's the question: if Don Callis causes Ospreay at Forbidden Door, how do you get Ospreay and Swerve back into the match for the world title again at All In? How do you patch that up and retell that story to keep the interest? When Ospreay should be fighting with Don Callis because Don Callis caught him, it's very confusing. Unless you're really going to swerve us all and have Swerve join the Don Callis family.
I would say this is when Tony Khan dusts off the rankings. Now it's
Oh
important.
yeah, then can't forget about those.
Okay, well, then you can't do that, because tell me why Roderick Strong can go yell at Tony Khan and get a title match for this Wednesday on Dynamite for the AEW World title.
I didn't say that's what he was doing presently. I just said that's what Tony would do at that point.
No, just
It wouldn't
Tony
surprise
dusting
me.
off.
But would
A
Ospreay be the
certain
number one
challenge we won't
contender
talk
with
about.
would Ospreay be the winner with a 1-loss record? Is there not somebody else that would have that same record?
Not if he actually booked it to make sense.
I know. We're talking about
What we're
making.
talking about here.
I know we know how to make it make sense. I'm just like, I don't have faith in Tony to make it make sense. It's like, how is Tony going to make this make sense to all of us? So I look at it and I go,
Can we get paid for this? I mean, we know he's watching. Can we get paid for this? We're trying to.
well,
help
if
him
Tony
out.
wants to speak up and give us his, expertise or his what he believes he is doing or why he's doing it, if he wants to come in here and give us his mindset on how he gets here and what he thinks is going to happen, I guess. But again, he loves the negative talk because that means people are talking about him. I guess he'll only be he'll only be concerned when we don't talk about him.
It's kind of hard not to. It's too comedic.
That's true in some instances. They just do stuff that you're just like, how can you not talk about hot garbage? It's that car wreck on the side of the road. You don't really want to look at it, but you're kind of like, ooh, damn.
WTF.
It's like for some
Well, at
people,
least
they're
Han's
walking.
not being born on live TV, so we haven't gotten that route yet.
It's like some guys are walking down the
Don't
beach.
give them ideas.
They're walking down the beach or walking somewhere, and they're with their wife, and there's this hot chick that walks by, and they're like, I want it, but I can't. I want it, but I can't. I want it, but I can't. Yep. Anywho, I don't know. I don't know what to say for Tony. I don't even know how to justify Tony Khan anymore. It's like Roderick Strong's getting an AEW title shot after you had a Casino Gauntlet match on Dynamite, and then that last night, Saturday night, Roderick Strong beats Leo Rush. Like, who's Leo Rush? I mean, I know he's a talent. He's got a lot of skills. He's popular with a lot of people. He's done a lot of good in New Japan, I guess, at this point. But Leo Rush hasn't been around in AEW, and the last time we saw him, it wasn't anything important. So Roderick Strong beats Leo Rush.
He needed to go back to New Japan and get beat around like a young boy. He need to knock some sense into that poor man.
Strong beats Leo Rush and yells at Tony Khan that he deserves a world title match. Tony Khan goes, yeah, that's a great idea. So you can have a title match on Dynamite. And you're going, so why do we have a gauntlet match on last Dynamite to give a champion match at Forbidden Door? Oh, and this is all in Roderick's mind that he's going to beat Swerve and then he's going to be able to have another match with Ospreay. So unless Tony Khan's really smoking the powder and decides that he wants to see Roderick Strong versus Ospreay again, maybe Roderick Strong beats Swerve.
Jeez.
Oh, no.
Maybe this is how you make the Undisputed Kingdom look popular again. Maybe Wardlow will finally do his job correctly. I mean, the Undisputed Kingdom needs some saving because they're fucking dead.
Leave.
Wardlow,
leave.
Wardlow needs to run out of that door and run away. Don't answer that phone when Tony calls. Tony says he's not going to fire anybody. So I'm sure if you don't answer the phone, he'll just let your contract run out.
He don't. The only person he fired, and it was his committee that fired him.
Well, it was CM Punk, but he did let those handful of nobodies go after CM Punk said he's not a boss. So I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't fire Wardlow. He just let Wardlow sit at home, run out his contract.
Back in Ring of Honor, by the way.
Well, yeah,
part of the workhorse then.
Well, because people got pissed off because the guy was injured, and they fired him while he was injured, and Tony Khan got himself caught in a bad position. Caught with his pants down,
so to speak.
Yes, not literally, figuratively. He made himself look like a dumbass. Well, they were talking.
That is so long ago. He fired Big Swole.
Yeah, well, that was.
Didn't really want to be there anyways. Let's be honest.
Yeah. Well, they are talking that 122 they put up last night.
Together.
I don't know anything about that. Do we know what they were talking about? The 122,000 they put up last night?
I have no clue.
122,000 what? They are talking that 122,000 they put up last night. I don't know.
Was that the viewers?
Oh, was that the Collision? Was that Collision or Rampage's viewership? I mean,
yeah.
I know those. I heard
Collisions.
I heard Collision was horrible. The viewership, and they had Ospreay versus Kyle O'Reilly, which is supposedly I guess they gave a 5-star classic on that match.
He gives a 5-star classic to anybody.
Well, that's Big Uncle Davey, who loves his little son, his adopted son, Tony.
Mounting him on his knee and everything.
Do you wonder? I wonder if Shad Khan watches AEW wrestling. The ratings for Collision, yeah, okay. I wonder if Shad Khan watches AEW. I wonder if he ever looks at what he's investing his money in and goes, "What the?" I mean, Tony Khan can't even make sense. Can't even make
a perfect picture with the meme on it.
Tony Khan can't even make his own company make sense with this Elite storyline. They attacked him. He disappeared. They brought out 4 random guys. They got beat up in a glorified stunt show, and now we're left with pieces. We're using Christopher Daniels as this authority-esque or interim, because he had to find a way. He didn't give us an interim champion since Copeland's injured and out of action, and so we're going to get a new TNT champion that's going to have at Forbidden Door. We're going to have a ladder match where people are going to fight to get in that. Which whatever. Thank God they didn't give us an interim TNT champion, but we did get an interim EVP. So Tony Khan still found a way.
Me as much.
It's whatever on that end, but I'm just funny that he still found a way to have something with interim in it. Like, that's his favorite word in the dictionary.
Absolutely.
Maybe he's confusing intern with intern because he wants to be an intern and be turned out.
Whoa!
Hey, you never know what Tony Khan wants to be in sync with, okay?
Well, he should be in sync with bye.
Thank you.
Anywho.
Redacted, can you please answer your phone? I need some help.
Why are we talking about redacted? I mean, that's the worst thing. Oh,
Tony can do bad all by himself. He does not need redacted.
Unless he's doing business with old Russo, we don't know.
Did we hear about the suit that's been filed against that Jaguar player? 2 women have filed a suit against the Jaguar player for inappropriate behaviors or sexual assault of some kind. So does that make the Jaguars the Harvey Weinstein of the NFL? I'm just curious, Tony. I mean, I'm just curious. You know,
I didn't even
Since
hear
Tony likes
about
to
that. I'm
throw
about to
shots.
look that up.
you know.
Tony
Take
likes
care
to
of
be
your
a
team,
shooter.
Tony.
But I mean, he's got Ric Flair under contract. He's got Chris Jericho under contract. And there's a couple other names where people have made accusations. But anyways, Hangman. I know everybody wants Hangman to come back. Hangman's dead. I don't know what you do with Hangman. I don't know how you revitalize Hangman. If Hangman comes in riding a horse carrying the AEW flag,
You have to return him to what he was originally in AEW then, for that to even begin to work out.
But it's going to take more than just showing up. You know what I'm saying? It's going to take too much.
For sure.
It's going to take time, and they're not
If
really.
we could get him how he once was with the Hangman's noose, I'm all for it. He needs to come back.
ROH/New Japan version, yes.
There you go.
I feel that's going to take at least 6 months, and I don't know if this elite storyline has 6 months to keep it breathing, relevant, and interesting. I mean, it's like we already had Anarchy in the arena, and that seems like the super blow-up match. So I don't know where you go from here to take down the elite. I mean, what match do you do Team AEW against the elite to take down the elite in now? What level do you have to go to? That's the next step.
Well, first,
and
you
don't
do not
say,
call it Team AEW.
Yes. And Mr. Miguel Z, please do not mention that horrifying, disgusting match that happened one time on this show that didn't work out. The explosive barbed wire blow up. I don't know what it was called.
Bullshit.
Yes.
Hey, you know what they could probably do? They'll probably go doing what's the other gimmick match they've done? The knockoff War Games.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Blood and guts.
There you go. That'll be another blow off.
Yeah, but then they're gonna. What? They're gonna bring the 3 cages of hell back. They're gonna bring back something old that WWE will never do.
Oh, don't do that!
Why not? That'd be great.
I'm just trying to figure out how do you. I mean,
For comedic laughs, anyways.
I guess blood and guts, but then again, I mean, who's that team? It's even hard to figure out a team that could take down the elite right now because they just don't have anybody made at that level that you feel like, oh, these are the 4 guys that could do it. I mean, I guess if Eddie gets healed soon enough, but I think he's out for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's that. Yeah, no.
Oakland's out for the rest of the year.
He's out.
So many people. What a shame. And nobody knows
Tony
where.
justify why his guys keep getting hurt.
Because he lets them go out there and do whatever they want, like real glass. And then I mean, he lets them go out and do whatever they want. I mean, they come off ladders through glass and steel chairs, and then they get to fight in barbed wire steel cage matches, where these matches can be entertaining to an extent, but you're still like, why are these people in this match? When did somebody say, that's probably not a good idea? You know, these guys are supposed to be telling somebody what their matches are. From what I understand,
tried that, and look what happened.
No. I mean, should there not have been somebody, an agent that when, Adam Copeland's like, well, I'm going to climb to the top of the cage and come off with the elbow. Should there not have been an agent there going, well, I don't know if that's the best idea. But see, Tony Khan doesn't put any parameters against these guys. So he just goes out there and gives us, do whatever you want, kill each other. So yeah, we get these real great wrestling matches that go on and on forever, but somebody gets hurt because they go on. Look at these guys. WWE people get mad because they don't wrestle that long. But again, if every time we get a 20, 30, 40-minute match and somebody winds up hurt, is that really benefiting anybody?
Well, you talk about like he just lets them do whatever they want. I'll tell you right now, when they walk in the door, they say, hi, what's up? They go to respective locker rooms. Hey, brother, we'll just call it in the ring, okay? That's what they do. They don't even tell them what, not even a certain parameter to work with. They just go out there and do what they can. Let's fill the crowd. Let's see where they're at. And my thing is, how do they keep going when the crowd's dead?
He brings up a point.
Tony, contact me again.
WWE is doing so good with their international crowds, it makes the American crowds look a little bit weaker. But even American crowds are still louder for WWE shows than they are for AEW shows. What does that tell you?
Man, I don't even know anymore. I'm one of those that just... I would love to have that international energy here, But maybe it's just because we're so saturated with it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because like every day of the week we have something now. We got used to it. Back in the day, it was maybe 3 days a week at best. But yeah.
I mean, even in the 90s, you had what, 4 shows? 2 WWE shows, 2 WCW shows?
Mm-hmm. Oversaturated now.
I mean, now, especially with the advent of the internet, you can literally watch wrestling 7 days a week if you want to pay for it a little bit.
There are those. There are those that do. I mean, I do.
I'm thinking about, once I can get some money together, buying a subscription to Triller TV so I can start watching some of these other independents that I've heard about. To watch Hood Slam, for example.
There you go. Speaking of Hood Slam, I heard this last one they had was great, and the one coming up is going to be even better. So let's check that out.
Get to some house cleaning real quick, ladies and gentlemen. If you look in the description below, you're going to see a lot of things down there. Firstly, we need to support our buddy AJ Kirsch, who's doing his Mr. Health and Fitness. He's raising money for childhood cancer. All you have to do is click the link below. You can go in there, donate money. You get to buy votes, and you can vote for him or vote free once a day. Keep him at the top of the chart. He's going to raise money for childhood cancer and win this tournament, and we need your help and support in doing that. Also, we are trying to get to WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, Nevada. We need your help and support to do that. So if you click the link below, there's a whole video and a whole way to tell you how to do that. So click on that. It'll give you all the details. We wanted to go to WrestleMania 41. We want to bring you to WrestleMania 41 with us to be able to show you all the insights and all the fun that's going down. But we know it's going to take a lot. We need your help and support in doing that. And finally, if you're a big Funko Pop collector and looking to collect Funko Pops, there is the Goldmine. The Goldmine is your place on Facebook to find Funko Pops. Just click on the link below, sign up, tell them the Value Wrestling sent you, and they'll get you hooked up. Tell them what Funko Pops you're looking for, whether it's wrestling related or anybody else, whether it's that hard to find or that missing piece of your collection. Check them out on the Goldmine. All that's in the description below. Get it down there. Click each of those links. Check that out. You can also find our link tree that'll direct you to other affiliates of ours, other things that we're affiliated with, along with our Twitter or X handles, which is below each of us. So, I mean, if you can't copy it down, there's a link to get directly to that.
And when you get a hold of the Goldmine, make sure Big Tyme ain't buying the top picks first, because I just seen the haul he brought in, and one of them was already taken, and I already know who probably got his hands on it.
Which one?
The NWO.
Yeah. Already have that one. He thought I had it, so he didn't message me.
I hit him up and he goes, "Your buddy." Yeah, he goes. I hit him up and he goes, "No." He goes, "Your partner in crime already got a hold of it." I was like, you mother.
I seen that when that first came out, and I jumped on that like white on rice and said, "Yeah, give me that one." He's like, "Oh, I thought I already had it to you." So most of them I'm probably gonna get some dibs on because we're buddies. So I mean, but yes, no, he's gonna hook you all up. If you tell him what you really want, he's gonna work with you. He's gonna make it a deal. He's gonna find what you need. The Goldmine, check them out, Misters.
Yeah, folks, definitely check them out. I've been there myself. It's
like
a kidney store.
I had to take him up there one day. He finally went into the Goldmine and he stood there with his jaw on the ground. I eventually had to, shut his, pick his jaw up off the floor and put it back because he was in shock. And of course he was sitting there going one minute, but he was counting on his hand how many he might be able to buy
without pissing off the wife.
Yes. But Mr. Z, it is your it is not your hour, but it is your moment. It is your part of the hour to talk about what's going on in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. What are we going to get on Tuesday when you do the New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound podcast right here on the Value Wrestling? It comes out every Tuesday. What is the little flavor? What is the little sample? What is the little taste that you're going to give this listening audience?
Well, it's definitely in the works. I'm in the middle of recording it as we speak, folks. We are going to talk.
Well, you're doing this show, so you're not doing that right now as we speak, unless you're doing dual shows at one time.
But,
that's very interesting.
On hold. It's on hold.
Work in progress.
On hold. Work in progress. We're talking Super Juniors, folks. We have the semifinals matchups that are going to happen later tonight at 3 a.m. That would be Doki and El Desperado. And then TJP, who shocked everybody by getting the semifinal spot against Taichi Ishimori. And this just reported about 30 minutes before we went on air. Evil challenges Mox to a lumberjack death match for the IWGP World Heavyweight title.
And what is a lumberjack death match?
We all know what a lumberjack match is. There's going to be men outside there. I'm thinking it's mostly going to be House of Torture with some type of weaponry.
Okay.
That sounds about right.
That is awesome, and that is what you're going to find out about New Japan Rebound Podcast. It'll be out Tuesday, so make sure you're here for that. Mr. Clarke, is there anything you have newsworthy that you want to talk about? Anything that you want to throw out on the table and let it spin? Because I know there's not a whole lot there.
I'm looking again just for the fun of it.
Unless you want to talk about Saraya being upset. Well, Saraya being upset that her match was pulled off the TV.
I'm not worried about her right now.
Is anybody?
So apparently, Matt Cardona has studied Eric Bischoff for his work as GM of GCW. Matt Cardona says he's been taking pages from the books of Eric Bischoff on how to be the general manager. Cardona was announced early last month as the GM for the promotion and has had an eventful tenure thus far, stripping Blake Christian of the GCW World Championship. Cardona spoke with Fightful's Jeremy Lambert and SP3 on the In the Weeds podcast, said where he studied Bischoff's work as GM to learn the role. Eric Bischoff, Cardona said, he's the OG general manager, if I'm not mistaken, and the best. There have been a lot of great ones, but Eric Bischoff is the one who is very intelligent, he continued. He gets a lot of heat on the internet these days, and I don't know why. Very smart man. I'm trying to emulate his style. Well, I mean, considering when Eric Bischoff was GM of Raw, just like his persona in WCW, he was very, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to piss you off and get that heat. Cardona, I've only seen a clip of him as GM, but like he said, he's kind of doing something very similar. He's doing the obvious things that would get heat, especially in that role. And so far, he's doing a great job. I guess even though Blake Christian to us mainstream wrestling fans isn't much of anything, like I've seen him in Ring of Honor a little bit. I've seen some clips of him. He's a very good talent. He's very good in ring, but he's not like, he doesn't have that big star appeal unless you're like a really big fan of him. Like, his story and whatever. I think he has the bigger footprint in GCW, which is also why he was world champion. But the fact that they stripped him of the championship, yeah, that audience, the clip I watched, they were just booing the hell out of Cardona for that. It's like, well, it's a simple story. It's easy. It makes sense. And he's supposed to be a heel, even though he's still healing up from injury. So he can't be in ring. So being a general manager makes, to me, perfect sense.
We shall have to see what happens with Matt Cardona.
You had Blake Christensen, and you had who else from and Ninja Mac. They were in the Best of Super Juniors tournament and did a stellar showing for the both of them. Ninja Mac, there's a sleeper for you folks. If there's anybody that needs to get signed somewhere, is Ninja Mac.
We'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. But with that being said, unless there's anything else you gentlemen think we need to talk about, I think it's about to wrap up this show. But like I said, I won't be available tomorrow. Things have come up, so I have prior commitments, so I won't be here for a live review show. I'm assuming Mr. Clarke will possibly put together a audio review.
You're gonna have to go wake up. You'll have to go wake up Jane again. So wake up. Do your job, please. Stick.
You don't pay attention to what happens around here, do you? There was no Jane Friday. Jane's got her own deal.
You better be careful. Jane's going to send you down to SGW and let you get clobbered. Stay alert, stay alive.
Hey.
Knowing is half the battle.
The fact that we constantly say anyone can get a title shot in AEW, and we keep wanting to send Mr. Z, maybe for developmental, we send him down to SGW. Give him a few reps there first.
There you go.
Oh, no.
Anyways,
I'll take my
You're
chances.
afraid of those soft ground wrestlers?
I'll take my chances with Nick Gage and GCW.
Wow!
alrighty.
Wow!
So he'd rather be in a lumberjack death match than go wrestling soft ground wrestling.
I'm too old to fall on the ground like that, man. Come on. Need some kind of padding.
The padding on his knees is probably extra thick.
Whoa.
I was just going to talk.
Pads?
I was just going to say that I was just going to talk about the natural padding we all seem to have.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Lots of that.
All right.
I'll go dressed as a blue meaning when I do that one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for being here. We thank you for joining in the fun. We do this each and every week at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on the Value Wrestling YouTube channel. This has been your weekly Roundup podcast. Tomorrow will be some type of review for Raw. It won't be live, unfortunately. Just a busy couple days here, but we'll get back to everything kind of normal coming up with Dynamite. I will definitely be here for a Dynamite review. Will anybody join me? We don't know. Maybe one day we can get Marty Richards and Jane AI Bot to do a live review of Dynamite. That would be interesting. Well, that would be the polar
Jane
opposite.
might quit after that.
but it would be interesting if you could get them two live being polar opposites. You know what I'm saying?
You can always dream and find out if it happens.
It would take a little. It would take a little work, I know, but hey, you never know. I just think it would be interesting because they're so polar. The combativeness and the energy that could come out of that. Who would piss off who first? You know.
Word.
That's where the entertainment comes in, and maybe that'll be a rating speaker. Maybe that'll be the viral video. Who knows? Anyways, so Raw will be on a short form Tuesday. So you have the New Japan Pro Wrestling Rebound podcast, which is coming out from Miguel Z. That'll be up on Tuesday. Wednesday is Dynamite review show, which I'll be back for that. Thursday is the weekend preview, which covers everything from Thursday to the following Wednesday. Then Friday we'll be back with your SmackDown review show as normal. Me and Mr. Clarke. Life will get back to normal by Friday. Saturday, you have Catching Up, which gives you catching up on NXT, NWA, TNA, and...
Okay, so I think about it on the days they happen. So we're talking about NXT, NWA Power, Ring of Honor TV, and TNA Impact.
TNA, okay. Yeah, Ring of Honor, TNA, NWA, and NXT. That'll be all covered on Saturday, and then we'll be back to Sunday with this, and then we do it again every week. Of course, every day we do this date in wrestling history. I get you that out. So be watching that, and there's, of course, always new stuff. Jane seems to be back in the office more frequently with her way of doing 100%. Things. Yeah, she is 100%. She'd probably be the one that Tony Khan would give a press conference pass to. So how Jane AI Bot would show up at a scrum would be the most interesting thing to find out, because that would probably be Tony Khan's favorite person on the show would be Jane AI Bot, because she seems to be pretty enamored with Tony Khan. That or they're both smoking from the same powder. I don't know. We'll have to find out maybe someday.
I hope she's drug free. We might have to have a conversation if she's not.
Yeah, well, who knows what she's doing? Yes. Oh, well, that's your position. You're HR, so go deal with it. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get out of here. We're going to say
CFO.
What? No, I meant Mr. Miguel Z.
I thought that was the CFO.
No, I said Mr. Miguel was the HR. He was the last one to talk. I put him in charge of it. You could be CFO. I'll be CEO. We're still all equal powers in this. And you can be HR.
Just don't start dancing. If you're going to call yourself the CEO, man, don't start dancing.
I've got the disease. I've got the disease. Come on, CFO.
Look at what you did.
CEO. Come on, CFO. Join me. Come on. You know you want to. Come on. All for Mr. Miguel's sake. We can do it.
Then do that.
Ooh, come on. Yeet, boy. Yeet. Yeet. I'll do the dance and you yeet.
Jeez.
On that note, folks.
Look, I can show you what a real CEO is about. Not that pretend princess of not Staten Island, but yeah, no. Boston's calling and saying no. Yeah. Anyways,
Thanks to you for joining the epidemic, Big Time.
I know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the CEO of AEW would have never made it on TBS's WCW Saturday Night Show. So
Damn.
don't like the facts. I don't know what to tell you. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna say goodnight. Well, thank you for being here. We'll see you on the next one. CFO. CFO. Wrong buttons. There we go.
How do you get that Alex right reference in somehow?